we need to know is subject is a class of citizen, which is a status, and you have sovereign and you have subject. Subject is coming under the status or the classification of a slave. Now, we know slave is derived from Slavic, which is a bloodline, but we don't have Slavics here. Well, actually, we're not Slavics. But what happens is Slavics, or the slaves, had a condition or a status, and the people that practice the things that we're practicing nowadays are diluting to those things that the Slavics practiced, which was slavery. This is where we get the term slavery from. There was an international organization set up called the League of Nations. And eventually they changed the name to the United Nations, which is an international organization, member nations. So we want to understand that different nations or representatives of different nations got together to try to resolve some of these issues. Because now every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the principles of their foremothers and their forefathers. So in 1926, there was a slave convention put together by the United Nations, and they define what the word slave means. And I would just like to read that passage. It says, for the purpose of the present convention, the word slavery means as defined in the Slavery Convention of 1926, the status or condition of a person over whom any or all of the powers attaching to the rights of ownership are exercised. And slave means a person in such condition or status. Now, so you have two classes of citizens. You have subject and you have sovereign. The sovereign citizens are the free natural people of the land. The subjects are the ones that they refer to as stateless person. A stateless person is one who is not a national or one who is without a nationality. Now, the term nationality, the political meaning of nationality, is it determines your political status. Nationality is your relationship with your nation. Now, to have a nation, you must have a descent name of your forefathers. You must have a national flag. You must have a national constitution. Now, if we're absent of any of these, yes, in the national seal, if we're absent of any of these principles, that does not constitute a nation. And we have different groups of people walking around today calling themselves nations that doesn't have these principles. So therefore, some people are considered stateless persons. And then the name black, Negro, color was put on us, and Ethiopian was put on us during 1779 to 1865, which was the heart of what you call slavery. So Noble Drew Ali's temple was set up to teach civics, citizenship principles, as far as constitution, nation principles, international law, descent names of your forefathers, and the names of your forefathers. So nowadays in North America especially, which is the hub, we have a lot of different nationalities here that does not claim a national name, cannot be protected by the Constitution which governs the land. We have what you call the laws of the land. The supreme law of the lands are the Constitution, which is the Constitution of the United States of America, and all treaties made prior to the adoption of that Constitution, and any treaties or international agreements or acts of states that shall be made after the adoption of the Constitution, only sanctioned by a Congress, a lawful Congress of the United States of America. Now, this was sanctioned by the adoption of the Constitution in 1787. Now, these things is absent from our school systems, our homes, our upbringing, coming from the womb. We have not been taught civic instructions, and this is why we have a lot of slavery, the things that allude to slavery, and we have a lot of misuses and evils and hurricanes, tornadoes. The earth is displeased right now on what's going on. Mother Nature is upset with the way we've been conducting ourselves. So Noble Drew Ali set up the Moorish Temple of America to try to bring harmony back to the land. So our remedy is to understand our civic responsibility and our national standards, what we owe to civilization itself. We fell from these principles, from these common law principles, which is common sense. Common law is derived from common sense. This is what we lost as a people. our instinct that we have, our connection with nature. And this is what we must regain again. The perception of thyself and our responsibilities to our brothers and our sisters. And that comes through the connection of the Moorish Divine and National Movement.
Very good. Excellent. So this is why we're saying to come in to claim that nationality, you must join the Moorish Science Temple of America to do that. There's no other association that is done by.
There are other organizations that are set up that teach civic instructions. Only, like Brother Messiah was saying, the Moorish Science Temple is the only lawful Congress at this time that can lawfully confer nationalization. Now, we have the Attorney General now and Secretary of State of the United States of America that's forming under the auspices of democracy. And what they have set up through Immigration Service is what you call a naturalization. A naturalization. That's distinct from nationalization. The only ones that can confer nationalization is the Aboriginal indigenes of the land, which are the Moorish Americans.
Of which we are.
Branded as Indians.
Branded as Indians. So
Yes.
those names, Indians, Negroes, Coloreds, Black, are brand names, not nationality names. And we need to make sure that we are, in fact, coming into the constitutional fold of government.
Right, and to add a note to that, and after that, I'm just going to give a short piece to that, and I'll let my brother Rajid El-Bey speak on that.
All right.
We have to also look back into history. We're dealing with the proclamation from 1863, the Proclamation of Emancipation, because in that, it stated, in fact, I have it with me, in that it stated that the military, so the executive branch of this government and the military would maintain the rights of these people, as well as any effort that they would make for their freedoms. Now, in making that claim, he also stated that how far this government would protect their rights. But he also did an additional war articles, which is called Military Order Number 100, yes. Article 43. And see, this is where the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement comes into play, because in going into the Military Article Number 100, Order Number 100, Article 43, it talks about the war that had taken place and about how the United States could not enslave a free man. And because they could not enslave a free man, those members or those individuals who had escaped from one state and came in up under the protection of the United States, they came as captives of war. And they was placed under the protection of the United States. And the United States said because they could not enslave a free man, that they could not return them back to those states, and that those states had no belligerent claim or lien over them. But at the same time, it stated that they would be placed up under the shields of the laws of nations. So therefore, being placed up under the shield of the laws of nations, we're talking about an international obligation. And this is where that group rights revert back to their ancestors, because their ancestors were free from the beginning. And because the United States did not have that authority, neither does the state have that authority. So in connection to the Moorish Divine National Movement, it takes away the black, the Negro, and the colored status.
Exactly.
Brother Rajid, would you like to add?
Yes, I'd like to add, like as far as the Emancipation Proclamation and what he's saying, it alludes right again to a jurisdictional issue. Because when you walk into a courtroom of the United States, again, you're on the platform of the 14th Amendment. But you gotta understand that when these amendments are made, they start off as joint resolutions. And then the joint resolution makes mention of Negroes, or blacks, or colored, so it makes reference of freed slaves.